Hey guys, Eric here, and the rest of the Live the Movie team, and we wanted to thank you for being here tonight. If you're watching this and it's the first time you're seeing one of our hangouts, you were invited by myself or one of the other leaders that are either on the screen or watching from the page where you can watch the video that you're watching. And tonight we're going to keep it short. We're going to talk a lot about our event that's actually coming up. Starting on Friday. So it's literally a day and a half from now. We're super excited about it. And, basically the leaders on our team and a few people outside of our official team are coming together to, our team name is Live the Movie. So it's really all about how do you become the star of the movie that is your life. Not so it's, hey, look at me, but more about so you're being the best version of yourself so that you can contribute to this planet in the best way that you possibly can. We all have talents and we all have personalities, and when you're being yourself, you can attract other people like yourself and make the biggest difference possible to them, and we're working to bring that out in each and every one of us that are being there. We will touch on some of the stuff. Most of the people joining us are part of our network marketing team, but there's also some people that are more into the personal development stuff that will be joining us as well. So we're super excited for the event, and I'm going to have a couple of people on here, both Dario and Mallory, share some stuff that they're excited about in a minute. But two things I want to touch on coming into this video. The first one is the whole concept of commitment. One of the reasons I'm really excited about both the event, and of course at this point someone isn't able to come to the event because it's in a day and a half, so we're not accepting any more people to come, but one thing we are doing is at the beginning of the next month, on March 1st, we're actually creating a community called the Live the Movie Academy. And what it's all about is taking the best stuff that we've learned from basically that we've learned from the event, some of the best talks, some of the best talks that I've had from being the keynote speaker at Kent State University. I actually got paid $3,250 for a 45-minute speech. And I don't say that to impress you in any way, but just to show you the stuff that I've learned and been able to organize in a certain way and be able to share it does have value, and that's what people that come to the event are excited about. And there's a lot of people following us that network marketing would be a great thing for them right now. And if you're one of those people at the end, of course, we're going to give you a chance and invite you by clicking the button below to see the video of what our system's all about. Now, I also agree that there are people out there that really need to work on themselves, and we'd love to have you on our network marketing team, but I think that there are some people that really need to work on themselves to learn the principles of personal development, because when you have the right psychology, you can apply any strategy and make a difference and make improvements, make money, get healthier, all the different areas of your life. If you don't have the right mindset, any strategy you'll question and you won't follow through in the long enough period of time that it takes to actually succeed. So this idea of the Live the Movie Academy membership area was something that I came up with recently because of my general observation of just people in the marketplace, people on Facebook, people a part of our team, people outside of our team, and just really saying, if I'm here to contribute and I want to add value, I just know that there's things that I've learned and the leaders on our team have learned that other people just aren't learning and don't know, and if we could teach it to them in a way that's organized and coach them to be able to succeed in what they're doing, that has value and that has merit. And where this all comes about comes from, you might have seen the video I posted recently, but it all comes about why people don't succeed, why they don't succeed, why they don't follow through. And one of the biggest reasons is people are not 100% committed to their success. And honestly, I heard this first 6 years ago from a mentor of mine in the sales business I used to work for, and the guy's name was Joe Gianelli. And Joe actually said that 100% commitment is way easier than pretty much any other percentage of commitment above like 30, right? If you're not committed at all, or you're 10% committed or 20% committed, that is easier. Why is that easier? Because you just sit around, you're a bum, you don't do anything, you're not afraid of anything, you're not pushing yourself. If you're doing any more than that, but you're not at 100, it is actually harder. Because if you think about it, if you're 80% committed to something, you're doing a lot of the actions, but you might not be doing the right actions. There might be a few things you're afraid of, and you try to avoid a couple things that actually would give you the most growth in whatever it is that you're doing. And he was talking about our sales business, about how why most people don't succeed at the level they want is because they show up every day. They do certain actions, but they still hold back in some way, and they get the most frustrated because they're like, I'm doing the work, but I'm also in my head thinking, and I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not getting the results. And that's what our event and what we want to share with you guys in these Hangouts, and also on the Academy as well, is that whole concept of how do you go from that person that's at 80% or 90% or even 96% and actually get to 100%. The other part of commitment is that I also find that some people don't believe in themselves, right? So they try something, it doesn't work, and they quit. I also find that there's some people that go the other end of the spectrum, where they believe in themselves in the long run and they believe things are going to work out, but their actions fall into a level of complacency where they keep doing the same thing over and over, just believing that in the long run it's going to work out. And believing in yourself in the long run is fantastic, but you also got to back it up with the psychology and the right actions, which is where this all comes about. So that's why everything that we're doing is all about creating those people that are 100% committed. You know, one of the things, another thing that I learned, which is so powerful, is I always asked my former manager, still talking about the same sales company, I asked my manager, what is the difference between, for simplicity purposes, I'll talk about like what's the difference between a new manager, a veteran manager, and a division manager, right? Like 3 different levels of managers, right? And he said a brand new manager, something will go wrong, and they will, whether they literally stop doing what they're supposed to be doing or just in their head mentally shut down, they'll shut down for 3 or 4 days, right? And 3 or 4 days goes by, now an entire next week of results goes out the window because you're not building any momentum. And he says that's what a new manager does. A veteran manager, a manager's been doing it for at least a few years, they know the skill set, they know what it takes to succeed. If something goes wrong, they get knocked off their horse for a matter of hours, maybe a day at the most. And because of that, they can still salvage the week. And then he says a division manager, the difference with them is it is minutes, if not hours. I mean, hours, if not minutes. It's not that they don't get frustrated. It's not that they don't lash out. It's not that they're not mad at their receptionist or whoever's doing something wrong. It's not that everyone's perfect and their psychology is amazing so they don't feel emotions like people. It's how long do you, pout about it, and do you ever consider giving up? That new manager, the reason they're pouting for 4 days is because they're still saying, is this even going to work? The manager who pouts for a day is trying to figure out how it works. They're still committed, but they're trying to figure out how it works. A division manager, not for 1 second are they considering not continuing to do what they're doing. They just are, they're so excited and passionate about what they're doing, and something completely out of the blue comes and hits them in the side of the face. They're a human being. They're going to get thrown off for minutes, right? So that's what happens. So the question isn't how do you become this perfect person. The question is, in that analogy, how do you go from that person that questions every time something goes wrong and stops doing what you're supposed to be doing for 3 or 4 days to becoming that person who, when something goes wrong, it's minutes or hours until you continue to follow through. And those are the things that we're going to be teaching at the Mastermind and in our academy. So I'm actually going to ask Mallory or Dario, do you guys have any comments or ways of looking at that whole concept of 100% commitment versus some other level of commitment?
Yeah, I think, what I would say is, and we've talked about this before in previous Hangouts, just the concept of recommitting too, because in that time frame of the days that a new manager will take to get recommitted again, the whole process of the recommitment happens a lot sooner when you're more experienced with something. So I think all of us have to recommit at some point, whether it's in a moment's time or it takes us a couple of days. But I think recommitting is also important, not just to be 100% committed, but saying to yourself, all right, I am going to recommit to this 100% again because I know how important it is. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I believe like saying that you're committed to doing something is really believing in yourself that you could make it happen. Saying I can is being committed. Saying, you know what, I want to do this is being committed. And that's what it takes. It takes really to be committed in the process of not just the business, but like Eric mentioned, and everybody in the team also talks about, is becoming the better version of yourself. Becoming the better that nobody knows really until they change. Nobody knows until they change their mind, how they really are. They become a different person. You're not gonna be the way you used to be. You're not gonna do the things you used to do. You're not gonna be surrounding yourself with the people you used to surround yourself. You really completely change 100% and with everything in your life, and then you're gonna see the real changes that starts to happen with your business, with anything that you do. That's why like formal education will always what Jim Rohn talks about, formal education and doing that stuff is just it's going to make you a living, right? Formal self-education will always get you to the next level in your life. Um, so back to you, Eric.
Cool. Yeah, no, I totally agree with both of you guys. That's awesome. And you know what Mallory said about recommitment, I think is cool also because that's part of breaking your own pattern, right? What ends up happening, right, is you say this goes wrong, and then you're like, oh, here we go. We're gonna, wallow in self-pity for 3 or 4 days. This is what we always do, right? But instead, if you catch yourself and you say, okay, all right, we messed up, something went wrong, okay, let's recommit, you're actually going against what your nervous system is telling you to do. And if you keep doing that, your nervous system will be like, all right, continuing to do this isn't a threat, forget it, let's just do it. And that's ultimately what you're trying to get to, is to break those old patterns that you have. And you do that by taking different action against that resistance that you're feeling. And the problem is that most people get that feeling, and their association is, I'm supposed to remove myself from what I think this feeling is coming from, not realizing that it usually has nothing to do with what you're doing. It has to do with the fact that it's something new, or you're doing something at a higher level. And for the people on the screen and our leaders that are coming to our mastermind, a lot of the stuff that I've talked about on all these Hangouts has been cool, but some of the stuff I've learned from Tony Robbins, which I haven't taught yet, will explain the backstory behind learning all of this stuff. Because it sounds intellectually, it's like, okay, well, if I break my pattern of doing this stuff and I don't, pout as long, then I'll be able to go to a new level. Well, why do I keep doing that? Why do I keep creating this pattern? Why does this happen? And that's the stuff that I'm going to be teaching that's so powerful that only the people at the event are going to hear it then, and only the people that join our academy are going to be able to hear it, period. Because I believe that any of you following us, we add a lot of value. Dario knows a lot of stuff about personal development. Mallory knows a lot of stuff about personal development. Rob knows a lot of stuff. They've been in the grind, have been in sales and different jobs and learned all this great stuff, and we're giving you guys awesome information. But one of the cool things about coming to an event or deciding to sign up for an academy or something like that is it's not even just the stuff you learn, although it's profound. It's also the fact that you're making that commitment or recommitment that I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow through. I'm going to make this happen. The example I always use is like a personal trainer at the gym, right? I think personal trainers are phenomenal people, but do they actually really do anything? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do they have a way that's worked for them so that they can train and they teach it to other people, which is totally valuable, and they deserve the money that they make. But when you think about it, the person that goes to the gym could go and get a machine and do the same thing. But the value comes in the fact that the person's going to hold them accountable, and that they're going to hold themselves accountable by committing to do a program, not necessarily the fact that they're automatically going to learn so many new maneuvers and do all this stuff. So that's what we're kind of looking at with being a part of our team and a part of this academy that I'm alluding to, that we're going to talk about more details coming up. The second thing I want to cover tonight is about playing to your strengths. And I actually watched a really cool video today. It was actually one of those Facebook Live things. I don't know if you guys know this on your phone now, but you actually can, on your phone, you can just start recording yourself live wherever you are, and then it just becomes a video on your Facebook. It's so cool. I'm starting to realize I'm following too many personal development people, because every 7 seconds someone's going live on this Facebook thing, and my phone battery lasts about 5 minutes because of that. But it's cool. You get to see people in their real life and in action and whatever. But the point is, I saw I saw one by Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's a personal development guy, but he's also into business. He's kind of like a Tim Ferriss or a Mark Cuban or one of those guys. And one of the things he was talking about was he says, so many people look at us and how we do in business and all this stuff, and they say, oh, I want to be a billionaire. It's like, well, why do you want to be a billionaire? And he goes, most people would be miserable if they tried to do what I did. I have a certain personality, I have a certain upbringing, I have a certain this and this and this. And he goes, anyone can do anything, but not necessarily everybody should do everything. And a great example that I heard that he was talking about, which relates to network marketing or being a part of something where, as an entrepreneur, you can make enough money to be able to do what you want with your life and make an impact to a certain group of people, is Gary said, not everybody needs to make $15, $20, $50 million a year, have all these employees, be working 24/7 or whatever. He goes, what about the person that makes $40,000 a year at their job, hates their job, wants to be home with their family, but also wants to make an impact? If they could create some entrepreneur venture where they make $90,000 a year, spend most of their time with their family, and impact a specific group that they want to impact, that's almost better than them making $1 billion company, because they're not just, there's all the factors, right? Their upbringing, what you've learned, personality, all put together. If that person were to succeed at that $1 billion business, they'd probably be less happy than making 90 grand and doing their thing. And I just thought that was so powerful, because we're all talking about, we want to be successful. And I get that all the time, right? On Instagram, literally twice a day, someone will say to me, Eric, I got this idea, you want to be a part of it? My dream is to run $1 billion business. And I was actually at a Tony Robbins event where he, not in a negative way. When I use the word destroy, it's probably the wrong word, but he broke down this guy who was at an event who said he wanted to run $1 billion business. And when he got down to the end of it, the end of the intervention with the guy basically wanted to run a business where he could make like $25,000 a year and, do this specific niche thing. And Tony's, where'd you come up with $1 billion? Well, it sounds like a cool number. Well, why would you want to do that? Oh, I don't know. People don't even know what it is they're talking about. So the point that I'm getting at is, you want to be crystal clear of both your outcome, but also the way in which you would get there. Because obviously, regardless of what you're doing, you have to work hard. But there are some ways that some people could get to their financial goals or different other goals that would actually make people not happy, would not make them fulfilled. And if ultimately the target is to both have an impact on people and also create life on your terms, you got to do things and position yourself in certain ways that actually help you to get there. And network marketing can be a big one for that, because you get a chance to be a part of a company and create your own little business within the company, but not have all the overhead and employees and all that different stuff. And there's also that whole concept of brick and mortar is still alive, and there's different stuff like that. But if you're trying to create time freedom, you got to work on something over here. So I think playing to your strengths can be very, very powerful. And quickly I'll teach this as the last concept for tonight. But one of the concepts I heard was that there's 3 types of people in business, and the reason I'm talking about business is I actually think that it could kind of relate to anything that you're doing, because to me, it's very personality driven. And the 3 types of people in business, one is the artist. And the artist is the person who is the doer, right? They're the doer. They're the Kobe Bryant, right? They're the Derek Jeter. They're the actor, the movie star, and those type of people. The person who's actually doing the thing that's producing the result. The next one is the manager leader. The manager leader is someone that inspires, and although they're someone who what they do is they're basically not a salesperson, but they're a leader of other people that ultimately do whatever it is that you're doing. If you're selling a product, they're not out in the field selling the product, but they're inspiring the people that sell the product, right? Or that is an example. The third type of person is the entrepreneur. And you say, well, Eric, aren't we all entrepreneurs? Well, when we talk about entrepreneur, again, we're talking about tendencies here, right? And an entrepreneur is someone who loves financial risk, right? They see somebody out there, or they see an opportunity, or they see a company, and their main focus is investing in that opportunity, taking the risk, but they're not the one doing the action or even leading the team at some points. They're the one taking the risk. So in the sports analogy, it's the Kobe Bryant, it's the general manager, and then it's the owner, right? Those are the three spots. The problem is a lot of times in business, one, we try to be all three. We try to be all three, and in certain businesses you end up being all three. And sometimes you have to be all three if you want to succeed at something, but at least with network marketing or having your own online courses and stuff, you don't need a bunch of overhead and all this stuff to make it work. Where this really matters and how this applies to everybody in general is you want to figure out what your tendencies are, so as you're building, you get people around you that have complementary tendencies so that you're always playing to your strengths, right? You're always playing to your strengths. So, for example, like with our team, Mallory's, a very creative person. My wife's a very organized person. I'm creative kind of in the learn how to teach personal development stuff, but outside of that, I'm not that creative. I'm sure I could get there, but that's an example of that stuff, right? So it's very funny because I actually had my wife start to take over some part of my business like 5 days ago, and literally the results are so much better, even though she doesn't even know what she's doing to help me. She's just doing it, whereas me, who's like not as organized, like doesn't do it right. And it's just funny, right? So that's just an example is you just want to be clear. And that actually is a personal development concept and not necessarily a business concept. It's one, figuring out which one you are, but then also figuring out the psychology to surround yourself with the people that complement you in that way so that if you're in a business or a network marketing business or anything you're doing, you continue to play to your strengths, because as things get bigger, you don't want to get away from your natural tendencies, because then that leads to you not being as excited and passionate and focusing on what you actually want to do. So, do you guys have any comment on that in terms of just, it doesn't necessarily have to be in business, but just in terms of having your personality and your upbringing and what you are, playing to your strengths, the whole concept of playing to your strengths so that you're making the biggest difference and letting everybody else, fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I would say just a lot of personal relationships are that way. The first thing that popped into my mind when you said not just business is just a relationship between husband and wife complementing each other. Just like you mentioned, your wife Meg is the organized one, and I would say that people will be more attracted to other people who have the complementary tendencies versus the similar tendencies, only because with the saying opposites attract, but also just because you kind of want to learn from them and try to pick up on their tendencies and make them your own too, and just you just work together better. So I think that's a huge thing in just personal relationships too, is finding other people and being around other people who do complement you, because that's just going to get you both further in the long run.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. It's usually in relationships, you find people that complement you because that's a part of yourself that's missing or you want to embrace, and you bring it out more in each other. So you have complementary tendencies, but just in terms of relationships, where relationships a lot of times go astray is you can't actually have a long-term relationship if your values are in conflict, because if your values are in conflict, every time you come to a major choice, you're thinking different ways. So you can have different interests, absolutely, totally. A lot of couples have different interests, and they have different tendencies, and that's what attracted each other, but the values have to be aligned, otherwise overall where you're focused on going in your life is completely different, and that's a lot of times what leads to different things. So I know that was kind of off topic, but yeah, so that's powerful. Those are the two main things I wanted to cover tonight. The last thing I'm going to cover before I got to run is just the whole concept of our event. I'm super excited about it. What's cool for you guys watching on the screen is the leaders on the screen don't even know what I'm talking about in terms of the academy and how they can be involved and how you can be involved and all that stuff. So it's going to be super cool. It's actually going to be an exclusive group when we first start, so we're not taking like open enrollment for all kinds of millions of people or whatever, because we're looking for people that are looking to commit, both with a little bit of their time and a little bit of their money, to actually be a part of our group and make that commitment that I'm going to develop myself to the point where I know I can do these different things, and I have the psychology that I can go find whatever I want, the strategy, whether you are already part of our team and then you also join the academy, or you join the academy and then you realize you want to make money, so then you join our team, or you join the academy and you're doing something else, but it gets you to do that at the higher level. And I believe that that's the way that all the leaders and myself can serve you the best. One quick last thing, and I'm going to let these two guys share what they're excited about for the event, is most people procrastinate because they lose track of their bigger vision. They lose track of why they're doing something, and not the why for you, but the impact that you're going to have. We all become selfish and say, oh, I didn't have time for that, or I did that before and it didn't work, or whatever, forgetting that the outcome wasn't about you, it was about other people. And honestly, I got to tell you, I'm tired of not contributing at the level I know that I can. I know that I'm doing a good job, but I know that there's a level way higher than this, and that's one of the reasons that we're coming together for the mastermind and also putting this academy together. So if you're watching and curious, keep following the leader that you've been following, and we'll have more details about that. But I'm super fired up about it, and hope you guys that are coming to the event are ready, because I'm not holding anything back on what I've learned and being honest about where you guys are at, where I'm at, and where we're going. So if you guys want to finish up by just sharing what you're excited about for the weekend, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, I'll share something real quick. I'm excited because I'll get a chance to meet everybody in the team, all the leaders in the team, and also because we'll be learning from Eric and from everybody else. I know everybody has very valuable stuff to share. Like myself, I'll give you a little bit of what I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about Jim Rohn and his mentor. You know, if anybody knows Jim Rohn or ever heard about him, he always talks about his mentor, and that was something that gave me like a curiosity into looking who his mentor is, where does he come from, right? So I actually found something amazing that it's very valuable for everybody in the team to listen to. So that's why I'm very excited. It's gonna be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for the same reasons, Dario. I mean, I'm excited to meet everybody that I haven't met yet, and I just think that I learn and grow more and accomplish more when I'm around other people, so I'm excited about that aspect too. And just I'm really happy to gain some more accountability buddies, some accountability partners. So I'm fired up to get there. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I haven't been at any type of event in 3 months, and you know, no matter how much you've developed yourself, how much you've learned, how many events you've been to, there is nothing like being at an event, whether it's 5 people, 20 people, 1,000 people, just having that real human contact, recommitting to what you're doing, learning new ideas, recommitting to old ideas. There's nothing like it, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see you guys that are on the screen there and the other people that are joining us. And then for those of you who are on the screen, if this discussion has excited you and you want to be a part of our network marketing team, you want to learn how you can make money to be able to create the freedom in your life, you can click the link below and check it out. And whoever sent you here will be in contact with you and give you an opportunity to work with us. And then as far as what I'm talking about this Live the Movie Academy, we're going to launch it on March 1st. It's going to be an exclusive group. It's going to be limited spaces. And yeah, definitely keep an eye out for more information. I have sent out just brief details to my big email list and got tons of people to reply to my email saying, hey, there's only going to be a certain amount of spots. If you want to be the first to know, reply to this email. And I've got tons of replies to this email. So it's going to be limited spots. It's for the people that want to play at that 100%, not that 90%. So if that's you, keep a lookout on your email or however you follow one of our leaders. and we'll have more details in the next week or so. So have a great rest of the week, guys. Live the movie. We might be doing some of that Facebook Live stuff from our Hangout, give you a little insight from our event, see what we're doing. We'll try that stuff out. So we'll see you guys. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks, Mallory.
Thanks so much.
I'll see
Have a
you.
good night, guys.
See you tomorrow, Mallory. See you on Friday, Dario.
All
Okay.
right, see you guys.
Take care.